Well, the Democrats are in a lot of trouble right now. The DNC is being hosted today, August 19th through the 22nd of this week. And there's already massive protests from the radical left protesting their very own people. These are one of the predictions that I made well over a year ago, because the truth of the matter is conservatives don't really care if you want to call us racist, xenophobic, whatever. We're kind of over it. It doesn't really, harm our bodies in any way, or shall I say sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. We're kind of done. So then what happens is the Democrats are literally turning on their own and eating their own. So right now at the DNC, there's all these pro-Palestine, anti-Israel protesters to the tune of thousands already out there. They came out even yesterday, and I've got a lot to share with you on that. But not only that, but hours before the DNC convention, something big happened. And not only hours before that, but on August 17th, something else happened that I believe a lot of people missed regarding an article that was published by The Hill. And I want to start with that first. So take a look at this. This is on Hill's X page, and this was a post that they put out on August 17th, 2024. Democrats still might invoke the 25th Amendment to make Harris president. Now, here's the actual article that they reference. Democrats still might invoke the 25th Amendment to make Harris president. It goes on to state, for the first time in the modern party primary era, a candidate was installed in that position without winning primaries. Had to add that. Prior to that installation, a number of Dems were on record saying they would have preferred an open convention with Harris as one of the leading candidates. That didn't happen. And in the process, over 14 million primary votes for Biden were thrown into a dumpster, but they go on. Is anything even off the table in this weird election cycle? I don't think so. At some point, might it become politically expedient to the Democrats to elevate Harris to the presidency for the remainder of the campaign? To be sure, there are serious and growing questions about Biden's perceived cognitive issues and decline. Is he honestly capable of fulfilling his duties? If not, who is running the country? And here's what they ask. Might the Democrats invoke the 25th Amendment to remove him from office before the election? There is an argument to be made that such a move should at least be considered for the welfare of the country. Another growing possibility is that Biden simply walks away from the job. He must feel like he was hit by a freight train with all of his Democrat friends stabbing him in the back. And what if it happens next week at the Democratic convention? Biden simply walks up to the podium, looks in the camera, and declares, "I've had it. I'm done. I'm resigning from my office and going back to Delaware." So as you can see, this is a very powerful report. But before I dive in, just a quick break from my sponsor. Would you believe me if I told you that inside your pantry right now is one of the healthiest foods on the planet? Spoiler alert, it's olive oil. Now, you're probably used to cooking with it, but did you know that there are countless ways for olive oil to make you both look and feel younger? And besides helping you look younger on the outside, it's a fantastic tool for your insides as well. According to Dr. Stephen Gundry, a famous cardiothoracic surgeon, nutrition expert, and health advocate, you should get as much high-quality olive oil into your daily routine as possible. But what exactly kind of olive oil is best for your health? Well, the olive oil industry is very huge, and you can bet that they're not all made with the consumer in mind. In fact, there are even brands out there who are cutting corners for profit. Now, when Dr. Stephen Gundry came to this realization, he was appalled. So how can you tell the difference between olive oil that isn't up to par and the ones that offer an amazing health benefit? Well, Dr. Gundry has seized up that opportunity, and he's decided to take a stand and share his research and findings. In fact, to check it out, all you have to do is go to the website getolive1.com/haven, and it's here. Dr. Gundry answers that question for you on this video. Now, if you want more information, make sure you click the link in the description box below. It's got it on there. Or if you're on your cell phone, click that more button or go directly to getolive1.com/haven. All right, back to the broadcast. So diving into this Hill article a little bit, one of the things that really stands out is first, that this was published just 2 days before the DNC convention. Why do it at that point in time? Now, obviously, there was a lot of tension within the Democrats and even the Republicans regarding the health of Joe Biden, right? And the question therein lies, if he can't run on the presidential ticket against Donald Trump, why the hell is he able to run the country? Now, we all know that Kamala Harris, I think she's inflating her likability. She's hired, we've heard rumors, I shall say, or not rumors, but she's been offering YouTubers and TikTokers who are famous lots of money to, bring her on the channel to make her this likable candidate, and so much more. And I believe that even though the polls may show her ahead in some, that she's not as ahead as they'd like. And so this would be a very strategic move for the Democrats to put her in, because they're going to say, hey, look, she's already president. Why not keep her in office? So will they actually do that? I do not know. Okay. But then what's interesting, and I'm saying we're so close anyway, they may not mess with it, right? They may just let the ducks where they lie. And I'm kind of leaning on that a little bit. But then this came out literally the same day, hours before the DNC convention. This came out. Take a look at this. This is on the U.S. House of Representatives. Report of the impeachment inquiry of Joseph R. Biden, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States of America. So this is the impeachment inquiry that was put together by the Committee on Oversight and Accountability Committee on the Judiciary Committee on Ways and Means. So they put this together, the House of Representatives, and you can see the stamp there, August 19th, 2024. Now, to give you an idea what's in this report, it's 291 pages. I found some good information here on Zero Hedge. House concludes Biden actively participated in impeachable offenses, except, in fact, here, it is too late to impeach him, but they wanted to make sure they got the information out. And by the way, it took them months to freaking do this. They've been working on it, I believe, since September of last year, way too dang long. And the question has to be asked, did they wait that long on purpose? But anyway, the article goes on to state a couple of things. For starters, it goes on to say the House Oversight, Ways and Means and Judiciary Committee said they believe the evidence from their 9-month investigation establishes that Biden abused his office and violated his oaths under the Constitution, according to the 291-page report reviewed by Just the News. And in my opinion, he did. He absolutely did. That's why he should be in jail right now, in prison, quite frankly, for some of the things. But here's specifically what they have accused him in that report of doing. And here's what it says. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. It says specifically, Biden and his family are accused of, number one, foreign payments. The Biden family reportedly received over $27 million from foreign sources, often through those shell companies, with some funds directly reaching Joe Biden's bank account, and they've got receipts for that. Burisma involvement. Hunter Biden was paid $1 million annually by the Ukrainian company Burisma, using his influence to support the company and allegedly shut down corrupt investigations. CEFC China Energy. Hunter Biden received a $5 million interest-free loan from entities linked to China Energy, intended to benefit, of course, the Biden family. VP influence. Joe Biden allegedly used his position as VP to support his son's foreign business ventures, meeting and speaking with his son's business partners in Ukraine, China, Russia, and Kazakhstan. $3.5 million from Russia oligarch. There's some Russia collusion right there. Russia, China collusion, freaking quid quo pro, all of it. Hunter Biden business received $3.5 million from Russian oligarchy, Yelena Batriam, shortly before a reported meeting between her and Joe Biden. And I know I butchered her name, but anyway, $8 million in loans from donors. And then the Biden family allegedly obtained $8 million in loans from Democrat donors, including $6 million from entertainment lawyer Kevin Morris, covering various personal expenses for Mr. Hunter Biden, and of course, DOJ favoritism. IRS whistleblowers allege that the Justice Department gave Hunter Biden preferential treatment, blocking investigations and concealing evidence to avoid charges. So lots of criminal activity, but the bottom line is, the report is unlikely to result in any kind of formal impeachment since Biden has stepped out of the 2024 race and we're basically coasting towards January 2025. So nothing is really going to happen at this point, to be frank. Now, whether or not they delayed that report until now is questionable. And why? That's still questionable because there's some real stuff against the Bidens, crimes potentially against the Bidens that need to be revealed. And quite frankly, since the DOJ and his entire Department of Justice is sold off to the Democrat Party, nothing's going to happen to Joe Biden. But either way, the timing of both the Hill article, right, this one right here, and the release of this particular report within 2 days of each other, 2 days before the other after, really screams that maybe they could actually go after Joe Biden and say, take him out for the 25th Amendment, which I think is not off the table completely for the Democrats, because this would only help Kamala Harris, not hurt Kamala Harris. And that's why I think it could be one of their strategic moves. Now, I pray that actually, I know we've got an invalid in charge of the office right now, but I would rather just sit where we're at and hold tight while Biden continues to make a moron of himself. Although I'm a little jaded because we are at risk, with that kind of person in charge. But it seems he's been in charge for the past 4 years with that kind of brain anyway. So we're kind of at that point. And I certainly don't want a communist in charge of the country in the meantime. And who knows, maybe she already is kind of pulling the strings. That's why everything went to shit, quite frankly. But either way, all of this happens and the DNC kicks off. Protests, by the way, are happening right now. They started yesterday and they're going to go, I believe, through the entire event. But the DNC is kicking off today as the DNC kicks off day one, pandering, protest, and POTUS. Starting Monday, Democrats will hold their long-anticipated national convention, during which they'll formally nominate their presidential candidate and outline to voters their vision of the future. They'll formally lock it in, the president and VP nominees for both major parties. But it's going to be held Monday the 19th through Thursday the 22nd in Chicago, the Windy City of Chicago. And as you can see, some of the lineup of speakers, they have Pritzker there, Miss Hillary Clinton, Obama, Tim Walz, and of course, last but not least, Kamala Harris. Now, right now, there is already a lot of radical leftists descending on DC protests. While Democrats seek to protect an image of unity, there's one factor that's outside of the party's control: expected protest from interest groups on the left, their own people, their own eating their own. Namely, they're expected to move full stream ahead. In fact, they're already boarding up some of the businesses there. Take a listen.
Downtown business owners are no stranger to civil unrest, and while police say they are prepared for that possibility during next week's Democratic National Convention, some owners already taking their own precautions.
As we know, this city has a poor track record when it comes to protecting businesses.
The looming unknowns ahead of next week's Democratic National Convention are why Scott Shapiro says he knew he had to take precautions to keep his decades-old business safe.
We felt it was more prudent to board up since our customers and their employers have told them to stay home throughout the convention for their own safety.
There you go. So they're already boarding up in anticipation of radical leftists, because they have proven, unfortunately, in the past that they're not so peaceful all the time, even as the mainstream media claims that they are. Of course, one protest organized as the March on DC 2024 will feature a group of around 200 left-wing groups and could potentially number into the tens of thousands, raising concerns about event security. Specifically, the protesters are demanding that the DNC and Harris change their stance on Israel, calling for United States to stand with Palestine and end U.S. aid to Israel, along with a laundry list of other radical leftist demands. Now, obviously, not all leftists are extreme and radical, but there are ones out there, especially like the radical BLM side, the radical Antifa group. But here's the group that was mentioned. This is March on the DNC 2024. You can see some of the demands that they're making. They want to stand with Palestine and other things, money for job, school, free everything. Give me free everything, free everything. Immigrant rights. I'm with or not for war. I don't want to be for war either. Immigrants' rights, legalization for all undocumented workers, defend LGBTQ and reproductive rights, defend the right to unionize and strike, stop police crimes, and justice, peace, and equality for all. Your typical radical leftist talking points. Now, there is another group out there. that I think the police and FBI need to look into. BehindEnemyLines.org, and you can see happening now, shut down the DNC for Gaza. Wow. So they're a little bit more scary. Who says protesting should be safe? I hope somebody over at the FBI is looking into this group, because I, for one, am against violence on both sides of the fence. And left, they're really eating their own right now, but I don't want anybody hurt. I don't want anybody hurt at the DNC. So this is kind of terrifying, but this is their own turning on their own. And this is exactly what's happening. You know what's weird, right? On top of it, the Democrats at the DNC are aware that their own side could potentially get violent. And so they are erecting, get this, a wall. Newsweek, DNC builds wall around the convention center amid Chicago protests. Now, notice these protests are not coming from the right. Not at all, not coming from Republicans. They're all from the radical lefts, the very pro-Palestine, anti-Israel group. And they're erecting a wall, which they claim, of their own fruition, doesn't work at the border, yet somehow it works for the DNC. I just kind of thought I'd throw that in there. Now, thousands have already ascended there. This is the night before. You can see the size of the crowd in this thing. These are the Chicago pro-Palestine protesters there. Not a bad number. It looks at least like 1,000 there in that image. But they're already chanting, going out. You can see some of the stuff. So they're yelling constantly, Christian fascists, go away. Very anti-Christian, if you ask me. And it hurts me. And here, this is interesting too, is this young lady actually ran into the DC stage. Take a listen to what happened here.
Y'all can do better than that. Mike, to money! 150,000 people are dead. We are working on genocide. And Harris administration keeps owing money to Israel.
Already invading the stage. And that was on the 18th. Right, officially starting on the 19th. There you go. It's just crazy. And then killer Kamala, Gaza seeking, or whatever. You know, and here's the other thing I wanted to mention before I leave is former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is attending the convention. And by the way, she is one of the most communist, tyrannical dictators that I know. She's the one that shut everything down for her country there in New Zealand, and completely shut things down, rounded people up, the whole 9 yards. And of course, she's at the DNC, probably supporting Kamala Harris. But either way, the left are eating their own at this particular protest. And so it should get interesting come election day, because I'm wondering, how are some of these little pro-Palestinian people going to vote? Are they going to just go straight on the RFK ticket? Or are they going to vote for Trump to piss off Kamala? Or are they going to vote for Kamala? I think most of them will probably just not cast a vote. Or vote for RFK, who knows? But if they're that mad at Kamala, I can't imagine they'd be voting for her either. So I guess there's good for that, if there is any good to see out of it. But anyhow, the left are attacking their own. I think we just sit back and watch the unfortunate events unfold. In the meantime, pray for everybody involved. Anyhow, I love you guys. Thanks again for listening. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.